Your kind disgusts me. Another dirty criminal crawling out from that black skin. Officer Travis Holt's words sliced through the parking lot like a blade as he drove Jalen Hale's face into the pavement. The 16-year-old's cheekbone cracked against the asphalt. Holt's knee crushed down on his spine with merciless force. "I paid for this," Jalen gasped, pain shooting through every nerve. Holt twisted his arm harder. "Sure you did. Lying's in your blood." Jalen's receipt fluttered away in the wind. His MIT acceptance letter crumpled beneath the officer's boot. Blood pooled on the dark asphalt. 20 people stood watching, phones raised high, yet no one moved. Jalen's phone buzzed on the ground. Dad calling. Then everything stopped. Tires screamed, a vehicle skidded to a halt, doors flew open, multiple footsteps pounded across the pavement. Fast, urgent, commanding. Holt looked up. His smirk vanished. Whatever he saw drained the color from his face and made his hand release Jalen's neck. He stood slowly, suddenly uncertain. Have you ever wondered what could make a hardened cop look that terrified? Drop a comment below. What's the wildest injustice you've ever witnessed? Stick around. This twist changes everything. Jalen Hale was simply a kid, shopping for his sister Maya's birthday. The Riverside Mall hummed with Saturday afternoon energy. Jalen walked through the clothing store, holding up a soft pink hoodie. He texted his mom a photo. "Maya's going to love this, right?" His phone lit up with a reply from Dad. "On my way, son. Be safe out there." Jalen smiled and slipped the phone into his pocket. He grabbed the hoodie, added a matching scarf, and headed to checkout. The cashier, a young woman named Lila Bennett, rang him up with a warm smile. "That'll be $53. Jalen handed over his debit card. The machine beeped. Transaction approved. Lila printed the receipt and tucked it into the bag. "Your sister's lucky," she said cheerfully. "These just came in yesterday. She's turning 13. Big day." Jalen took the bag and turned to leave. That's when the alarm went off. Not in Lila's store, but 3 shops down at the electronics retailer. A shrill beep pierced the air. Shoppers turned their heads. Security guard Ronald Mercer spoke urgently into his radio. "We have a 105 at Tech Plaza. Male suspect fleeing toward the south exit." The dispatch's voice crackled back. "Description." Mercer squinted down the corridor. "Black male, late teens, wearing a dark hoodie and backpack." That vague description, black male in a hoodie, echoed the same dangerous assumptions that had turned deadly in the Trayvon Martin case. Jalen was only 50 feet away, browsing a window display. He wore a navy hoodie. He carried a backpack. He had no idea he matched anything. Mercer spotted him. His eyes narrowed. Jalen was the only black teenager visible in that section of the mall. "I've got eyes on a possible suspect," Mercer said into his radio. "Moving to intercept." Jalen's phone buzzed again. Another text from Dad. "ETA soon. Love you." Jalen typed back. "Love you too, Dad." He never got to send it. Mercer was already moving, already calling it in, already making the worst assumption of his career. And Officer Travis Holt was already in his patrol car 2 blocks away, lights flashing as he accelerated toward the mall. Jalen picked up his shopping bag and headed toward the exit. He had no idea what was about to happen. He pushed through the mall's glass doors into the parking lot. Sunlight hit his face. He adjusted his backpack and checked his phone. Maya had texted, "Can't wait to see what you got me." He was typing a reply when he heard the voice. "You stop right there." Jalen looked up. Officer Travis Holt strode toward him, hand resting on his holstered gun. His partner, Officer Miles Corbin, followed a few steps behind. Jalen froze. "Me? Don't move." Holt closed the distance fast. "Put your hands where I can see them." Jalen's stomach dropped. He raised both hands slowly, phone in one, shopping bag in the other. "Officer, I think there's been a mistake." "I said don't move." Holt grabbed Jalen's shoulder and spun him around. Empty your pockets, now. I just bought this, Jalen said, hands shaking as he complied. He pulled out his wallet, keys, and phone. Holt snatched them and shoved Jalen against a parked car. The metal was hot under his palms. What's in the bag? A hoodie and scarf for my sister's birthday. I have the receipt right here. Holt ripped the bag open, pulled out the pink hoodie, and inspected it like stolen goods before tossing it onto the ground. The scarf followed. He grabbed the receipt, glanced at it for barely 2 seconds, then crumpled it in his fist and dropped it. Anyone can fake a receipt. Jalen stared in disbelief. What? No, that's real. The store clerk can confirm it. Sure she can. Holt's voice dripped with sarcasm. He turned to Corbin. Check his ID. Corbin picked up Jalen's wallet and pulled out his driver's license and student ID. He studied both carefully. Jalen Hale, age 16, Riverside High School. Corbin looked up. Holt, he's got an honor roll sticker on this. Holt didn't even glance at it. So honor roll kids steal too. A crowd was forming now, shoppers drawn by the commotion. Phones rose. At least 19 or 20 people watched, recording everything. Jalen felt every eye on him. His face burned with shame. I didn't steal anything. Please, just check the security footage inside. You'll see. Turn around, Holt ordered. Sir, if you just... I said turn around. Holt grabbed Jalen's arm and yanked him hard, slamming his chest against the car hood. The impact knocked the breath from his lungs. Hands behind your back. Jalen obeyed, his heart hammered against his ribs. This wasn't real. This couldn't be happening. Not to him. Not for buying a birthday present. His mother's words rang in his head. Always come home safe, baby. Holt kicked Jalen's feet apart. Spread your legs. Officer, I have done nothing wrong. Shut your mouth. Holt began patting him down. Rough, aggressive, hands running down his sides, his legs, checking his waistband, his ankles, all of it visible to the growing crowd, all of it humiliating. Someone in the crowd muttered, Jesus, is that necessary? Holt ignored them. He pulled Jalen's backpack off and unzipped it. Books spilled onto the pavement. A calculus textbook with a broken spine from heavy use. A copy of The Souls of Black Folk for English class. A binder full of notes. A folder labeled MIT Application Materials. Holt picked up the folder and opened it. Inside was Jalen's acceptance letter, the one his mother had cried over, the one that represented 4 years of straight A's, volunteer work, and leadership. MIT, huh? Holt held it up, voice loud enough for everyone to hear. What'd you do? Steal the acceptance letter too? A few people in the crowd laughed. Not many, but enough that Jalen heard it. Enough to make his stomach twist. His eyes stung. That's mine. I earned that. Sure you did. Holt tossed the folder aside like trash. Pages scattered in the breeze. Jalen watched his future blow across the parking lot. That's when Lila Bennett came running out of the mall. Officers! Officers, wait! She was breathless, waving her iPad. I'm the clerk from Style Avenue. I sold him that hoodie 10 minutes ago. Holt barely looked at her. Ma'am, step back. But I have the transaction record right here. Lila thrust her iPad forward, showing the time-stamped receipt. Jalen could see it clearly from where he stood. Proof. See? Jalen Hale. Debit card ending in 3948. Purchased at 2:43 p.m. That's him. I remember him because he was buying a gift for his sister. Corbin stepped forward. Holt, maybe we should... We're following protocol. Holt cut him off. He turned to Lila, voice harder now. Ma'am, this is police business. I need you to step back now. But he didn't steal anything. Lila's voice rose with desperation. I literally just sold him those items. I can show you the store cameras. Step back. Holt's hand moved toward his weapon. Lila hesitated, fear crossing her face. Then she retreated, but she didn't leave. She stood at the edge of the crowd, iPad clutched to her chest, shaking her head as tears formed in her eyes. Jalen caught her eye. Thank you, he said quietly. Thank you for trying. She nodded, one tear spilling over. Holt's radio crackled. Unit 43, what's your status? Holt keyed his radio. Suspect detained. Requesting backup for transport. Backup en route, be advised. Suspect may be armed. Jalen's blood went cold. His whole body went numb. What? I'm not armed. I don't have a weapon. Holt's hand went to his gun. Get on the ground, now. I'm not armed. On the ground. Holt drew his weapon. The gun came out of its holster in one smooth motion. The crowd gasped. Several people screamed. Corbin's hand went to his own gun, but he didn't draw it. His face showed clear discomfort. Jalen dropped to his knees, hands raised high above his head. Please don't shoot. I'm not resisting. I don't have a weapon. Please. Face down, hands behind your head. Jalen lowered himself onto the asphalt. The concrete was hot against his cheek. Rough, tiny pieces of gravel pressing into his skin. He laced his fingers behind his head, trying not to shake. His mother's words echoed again. Keep your hands visible. Say yes, sir. Come home safe. He was trying. God, he was trying. Holt holstered his gun and dropped his knee onto Jalen's back. Hard. All his weight. The air rushed out of Jalen's lungs. He couldn't expand his chest. I can't breathe, Jalen gasped. Stop resisting. Holt pressed down harder. I'm not resisting. Jalen's voice came out strangled, desperate. I can't breathe. Then stop talking. Holt grabbed Jalen's right arm and wrenched it back at an unnatural angle. Something in Jalen's shoulder popped. Pain exploded down his arm. Voices erupted from the crowd. He's a kid! Check the receipt. This is wrong, a white mother whispered to her daughter. This is messed up. But the phones stayed up. 20 cameras recorded. 0 people physically intervened. Jalen's phone lying on the ground near his head started buzzing. The screen lit up. Dad calling. It rang and rang and rang. Nobody answered it. A second patrol car pulled up, lights flashing red and blue. Sergeant Leonard Pike stepped out with 2 more officers. Pike walked over, taking in the scene. What do we have? Holt, still kneeling on Jalen, said. Suspect matching description from the electronics store theft. Detained him as he was leaving the mall. Pike looked down at Jalen, then at the scattered shopping bag and papers. He picked up the crumpled receipt, smoothed it out, and read it carefully. This receipt is from today. Could be forged, Holt said. Pike's eyebrows rose. Forged that quickly, it's possible. Pike crouched down and looked at Jalen's face. Blood had started to trickle from Jalen's nose. Son, what's your name? Jalen Hale. Jalen managed to whisper. I'm 16. I'm a student at Riverside High. Pike picked up Jalen's student ID from the ground and studied it carefully. Honor roll? 4.0 GPA? He looked at Holt. You pat him down. Yes, sir, clean, no weapons. Any contraband in his bags? School books, papers, college stuff. Pike stood up slowly. He looked at the crowd, at all the phones recording every angle. He looked at Lila Bennett, still holding her iPad with trembling hands. Then he looked back at Jalen, still pinned under Holt's knee. For a moment, the sergeant seemed to consider something. His face showed conflict. Jalen felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this would end here. Maybe bring him in for questioning, Pike said. Better safe than sorry. The hope died instantly. Holt hauled Jalen to his feet. Jalen's shoulder screamed in pain. His legs almost gave out. Holt steadied him roughly, then pulled out his handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The metal cuffs clicked around Jalen's wrists. Cold, tight, too tight. Each click echoed in Jalen's ears like a gunshot. The crowd's reactions split down the middle. Some shouted protests. This is racial profiling. Let him call his parents. Check the security cameras first. Others stood silent. uncomfortable but unwilling to speak. A middle-aged white man near the back said quietly, "The officers are just doing their jobs. If the kid didn't do anything wrong, it'll get sorted out." A black woman next to him shook her head. "You don't understand. This is how it always goes." Arguments broke out. The crowd fractured into clusters of debate. Meanwhile, Jalen stood in handcuffs, center stage in his own public humiliation. His phone buzzed again on the ground, Dad calling, still unanswered. Holt walked Jalen toward the patrol car. Jalen's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. He'd done everything right, everything his parents had drilled into him since he was old enough to understand. Keep your hands visible. Say yes, sir. No, sir. Don't make sudden moves. Stay calm. Be polite. He'd done all of it, and he was still in handcuffs. As they approached the car, Jalen looked back one last time. The crowd stared. Some faces sympathetic, some indifferent, some already turning away. Lila Bennett still stood there. She'd picked up his phone. The screen still showed Dad calling. Jalen wanted to yell to her, to beg her to answer it, to tell his dad what was happening. But Holt's hand was on his head now, pushing him down. Holt opened the back door of the patrol car and shoved Jalen inside, not gently. The door slammed shut. The sound was final, absolute, like a cell door closing. Through the window, Jalen could see everything he was leaving behind. The mall entrance where this nightmare started, the scattered papers from his MIT folder already blowing away, the pink hoodie crumpled on the ground, dirt-stained now, his sister's birthday present destroyed. Holt climbed into the driver's seat. Corbin got in on the passenger side. The car smelled like sweat and old coffee. Corbin looked back at Jalen through the metal partition. "Kid," Corbin said quietly, genuine discomfort in his voice. "This will get sorted out at the station. Just stay calm. Cooperate. It'll be okay." Jalen didn't respond. What was there to say? He'd been calm. He'd been polite. He'd cooperated completely. And he was still being arrested. Corbin turned back around, looking troubled. His jaw was tight, but he didn't say anything else. Didn't challenge Holt. Holt started the engine. The car rumbled to life. As it pulled away from the curb, Jalen watched through the rear window. Lila Bennett was still standing there, phone pressed to her ear now. She must have answered his dad's call. She was talking, gesturing. Good. At least someone would tell him. The crowd was dispersing. Some still filming, probably already posting to social media. Some shaking their heads. Some already walking back into the mall. Just another Saturday at Riverside Mall. Jalen closed his eyes. His shoulder throbbed with every heartbeat. His wrists ached from the too tight cuffs. His face still stung from the rough asphalt. But the physical pain wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the humiliation, the helplessness, the knowledge that he'd done everything his mother taught him. And it hadn't mattered. "Always come home safe, baby." He'd tried, Mom. He'd really tried. The patrol car turned onto the main road. The mall disappeared behind them. Jalen sat alone in the back seat, hands cuffed behind his back, shoulder aching, throat tight with unshed tears. And somewhere his dad was calling again and again, unable to reach his son, unaware that in less than an hour he would see the security footage, would watch every second of his son's humiliation, and would mobilize 10 FBI agents. But Jalen didn't know that yet. All Jalen knew was fear and the terrible certainty that his life had just changed forever. The Riverside police station smelled like burnt coffee and old paperwork. Holt walked Jalen through the front entrance, hand gripping his arm. The handcuffs bit into Jalen's wrists. Officer Nicole Harris looked up from the front desk. "Name?" "Jalen Hale, but I need to call my parents." Holt cut him off. "Suspected retail theft. Riverside Mall. Run his record." Harris typed quickly. She frowned. "No priors. Clean." Holt shrugged. "First time for everything." "I didn't steal anything." Jalen's voice rose. I showed you the receipt. Receipts can be forged. Witnesses can lie. So can cops, Jalen shot back. Holt's face darkened. He stepped closer. Sergeant Pike appeared. That's enough, Holt. My office. Corbin. Process him. Corbin unlocked the handcuffs. Jalen's wrists were red and marked. He led Jalen down a narrow hallway to a small holding room, 10 by 10 feet, gray walls, metal table bolted to the floor, 2 chairs, a camera in the corner with a red light blinking. Sit tight, Corbin said. This will get sorted out. When can I call my parents? Soon, I promise. The door closed. Jalen was alone. He sat down slowly. His shoulder throbbed where Holt had twisted it. His cheek stung from the asphalt. But the physical pain wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the humiliation, the helplessness. He looked at the camera. Is anyone watching this? I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. Silence, just the red light blinking. Outside in the parking lot across the street, a black SUV idled. Tinted windows. No markings. Inside, Agent Sophia Grant adjusted her earpiece. We have visual. Subject is inside. Agent Victor Lang checked his tablet. Director Hale's ETA is soon. He's watched the mall footage, all of it. How bad? Bad. His kid got slammed face first into concrete. Knee to the back, the whole thing. Grant's jaw tightened. The officer, Holt, same guy with 2 excessive force complaints last year. Both dismissed. Not this time. What's the play? We wait for the director's signal. He wants to handle it personally first. If it escalates, we move in. 10 agents standing by. Inside the interrogation room, Jalen stared at the walls. He thought about his mother's talk, the one she'd given him when he turned 13. You're black in America. The rules are different. You're twice as likely to be stopped. 3 times as likely to be arrested, 10 times as likely to be hurt. So you be careful, you be polite, you come home safe. He'd been careful, he'd been polite, and he was still here. Jalen looked at the camera again. My name is Jalen Hale. I'm 16. I'm a student at Riverside High. I have a 4.0 GPA. I got accepted to MIT. I bought a hoodie for my sister's birthday. That's all I did. His voice cracked. The door opened. Corbin came back with a clipboard. Jalen, we pulled the security footage from the mall. Jalen jumped up. Corbin hesitated. You weren't near the electronics store during the theft. You were in a completely different section. Relief flooded through him. So I can go? Well, Sergeant Pike wants to complete the full report first. Standard procedure. Jalen couldn't believe it. Standard procedure? You just said I didn't do it. You have proof. I know, but then why am I still here? Corbin shifted uncomfortably. Look, I'm on your side, but it's not my call. The sergeant needs to review everything, document it, then he'll release you. When? Maybe an hour. An hour. Jalen slammed his hand on the table. I've been here almost an hour already. You just admitted I'm innocent. I understand you're frustrated. Frustrated. Jalen laughed bitterly. I got thrown to the ground in front of 50 people. Your partner called me a criminal. He knelt on my back while I couldn't breathe. My MIT letter is scattered across a parking lot. And you want me to wait another hour? Corbin looked pained. I'm sorry. Just be patient, please. He left. Jalen stood shaking. He wanted to scream, to flip the table. But he couldn't. Because that would make him the angry black man they expected. That would end up on camera, used as evidence against him. So he sat back down and forced himself to breathe. In Pike's office, Holt stood at attention. This doesn't look good, Holt. We responded to a call. The description matched. Black male, hoodie, backpack, Pike said. Dude, that matches half the teenagers in this county. Holt bristled. I made a judgment call. Your judgment call is all over social media. Pike turned his monitor around. The screen showed multiple posts. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all showing Holt's knee on Jalen's back. The crowd yelling, the scattered papers. Hashtag Riverside Mall was trending. Hashtag Justice. For Jalen had over 10,000 tweets. Holt's jaw tightened. So what, we did our job. Did we? Pike closed his laptop. The kid had a receipt. The clerk vouched for him. Security footage confirms his story, and you still brought him in. Better safe than sorry, or better scared than accountable. Pike leaned forward. You drew your weapon on an unarmed teenager. Dispatch said he might be armed, based on what? A security guard who pointed at the first black kid he saw. Holt's face reddened. I don't appreciate. I don't care what you appreciate. Pike stood. You know what this looks like. The optics are terrible. I'm finishing this report, releasing the kid with an apology, and hoping this doesn't become a lawsuit. Holt scoffed. The kid will be fine, Sarge. Dude's got MIT. This will just be his wild college story. Pike's voice went cold. Get out of my office. Sir. Get out. Holt left. Pike sat alone, staring at his screen. At the video of Jalen's face pressed against asphalt. At the boy's terrified eyes. Outside, Grant whispered into her earpiece. Director's en route. He's seen the body cam. It's damning. Lang nodded. How long? 6 minutes. He's furious. Pike's phone rang. Sergeant Pike. He listened. His face changed. What? When? He glanced at the door. How many? A pause. Understood. I'll be right there. He hung up slowly. FBI in his lobby right now for a shoplifting case. What the hell was going on? In the interrogation room. Jalen had his head on the table. The metal was cold against his forehead. He was exhausted. So tired of fighting, so tired of proving himself. Outside, the SUV's doors opened. 10 figures in tactical gear stepped out, moving toward the entrance. Inside, Jalen didn't move. He had no idea everything was about to change. No idea that the FBI was about to become the most important acronym of his life. His door remained closed, but in the lobby the front doors were opening. And what happened next would flip everything upside down. The front doors burst open. 10 agents in FBI windbreakers flooded the lobby. Tactical gear, weapons visible. Officer Harris stood. Can I help you? Agent Sophia Grant stepped forward. FBI, we're here for Jalen Hale. Harris blinked. On what grounds? We don't need grounds. Where is he? Sergeant Pike rushed out. What's going on? Grant showed her badge. Special Agent Grant, FBI. This facility is under federal observation. Where is Jalen Alexander Hale? He's a suspect in a shoplifting case. He's not a suspect. He's a minor under federal protection. You're holding him illegally. Holt stepped forward. Federal protection for a shoplifter? Grant locked eyes with him. You're Officer Holt, correct? Yes, ma'am. We'll talk, but first, where is Jalen Hale? Pike swallowed. Holding room, North Corridor. Grant signaled 2 agents. Grant Lang, get him. They moved immediately. Holt tried again. This is local jurisdiction. Was, Grant corrected. When you detained a minor without cause and denied him counsel, this became federal. Your jurisdiction ended. She pulled out a tablet. This is mall footage. Want to watch? The video played. Holt slamming Jalen down, knee on his back. Jalen gasping, the ignored receipt. Lila dismissed, MIT papers scattering. Pike went pale. Holt went red. We responded to a call. Holt said, You racially profiled. Grant cut him off. The actual suspect was white, early 20s. Your description was black male, hoodie, backpack. That's 40% of teenagers. You chose Jalen because of his skin. Down the hall, agents opened Jalen's door. Jalen Hale. He nodded, terrified. Agent Lang showed his badge. FBI. You're safe. Come with us. What's happening? You're not in trouble. We're getting you out. They led him to the lobby. Jalen froze when he saw it. 10 federal agents. Pike looking pale. Holt looking scared. Grant turned. Jalen, are you injured? He touched his cheek, his shoulder. My face. My shoulder, but I'm okay. Did anyone deny you a phone call or counsel? Jalen glanced at Holt. Yes, multiple times. Grant made a note, eyes never leaving Holt. Holt stepped forward. Wait. Grant held up a hand. Officer Holt, speak to your union rep. Everything you say is being recorded for federal investigation. Holt shut his mouth. The front doors opened. Everyone turned. A man walked in. Late 40s, black, 6'3", dark suit, FBI badge on his belt. But the way the other agents straightened, the way Grant stepped aside, this was someone senior. The man's eyes swept the room and locked onto Jalen. Jalen stared. Something was familiar, the jaw, the way he stood. Dad? Barely a whisper. The room gasped. The man crossed the lobby in 3 strides, hands on Jalen's shoulder, scanning for injuries. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? Jalen couldn't speak. The man hugged him tight, quick but fierce, then turned to face the room, his voice changing, commanding. I'm Director Marcus Hale, FBI Regional Bureau, and this is my son. Complete silence. Jalen's mind spun. Director. His dad worked in federal administration. He'd never asked for details. Marcus kept his hand on Jalen's shoulder. Not long ago, my son's phone stopped moving. I have a tracking app, standard for federal agents' families. When I saw his location at this station, I pulled the mall footage myself. He looked at Holt. I watched everything. The stop, the search, the force, the denial of rights. His voice was controlled, but furious underneath. My son was buying a birthday gift. He had a receipt, a witness. He did nothing wrong, yet he was thrown down, handcuffed, detained. Pike tried to speak. Director Hale, we responded to a theft. You racially profiled a teenager. Marcus pulled out his tablet. Original dispatch. Black male, late teens, dark hoodie, backpack. That's meaningless. Guard Mercer pointed at my son because Jalen was the only black teenager visible. He swiped screens. Here's the actual suspect. White male, early 20s, red hoodie, no backpack. Left 6 minutes before Jalen was approached. He showed them. Jalen was 50 yards from the theft. Different store, with receipt, with witness. Holt didn't care. He saw a black teenager and assumed guilt. Holt went white. Marcus turned to Jalen, voice softer. Son, for the record, did Holt read you your rights before detaining you? Not until he was handcuffing me. After he'd already searched me and thrown me down. Did he ask consent to search? No. Did you request a phone call? Multiple times. He said I'd get one at the station. I never did. Marcus nodded. Agent Grant, play the full footage. Grant connected to the wall TV. The video played everything. Jalen shopping, smiling, paying. Lila giving the receipt. Jalen walking out unaware. Holt approaching with immediate aggression. No questions, just assumption. Jalen raising hands, trying to explain. Holt grabbing him, slamming him. The rough search, scattered books. The MIT folder. Holt mocking it. Crowd laughing. Lila running out with her iPad. Holt dismissing her. Holt drawing his weapon. Jalen on his knees, hands high. Holt forcing him face down. Holt's knee on his back. I can't breathe. Stop resisting. Jalen wasn't moving. Wasn't resisting. The knee stayed pressed down long after he had stopped moving. The video ended. Silence. Some officers looked away. Some looked disturbed. Marcus let the silence sit. Then spoke. Sergeant Pike, I watched my 16-year-old son get brutalized. Honor roll student. MIT bound. Never had a detention. I watched him plead innocence while evidence was at his feet. Ignored. I watched him be denied his rights. And I watched 50 people film it instead of help. Because they feared police. His voice hardened. This isn't bad policing. This is a federal civil rights violation. It ends today. Pike's voice was weak. Director Hale, we were trying to do our jobs. Serving and protecting who? You saw a black teenager and saw a threat. That's all it took. Marcus turned to Grant. I want statements from every officer involved. Body camera footage, dispatch recordings, mall footage preserved, everything. Official federal investigation. Yes, sir. Marcus turned to Holt and looked him in the eye. Officer Holt, you put your knee on my son's back while he begged for air. You mocked his achievements. You denied him a phone call. You drew your weapon on an unarmed teenager with a shopping bag and receipt. You violated his 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment rights. A pause. Anything to say? Holt's mouth opened. I was following training. Your training taught you to racially profile minors. No, to ignore physical evidence. The description, black male in a hoodie, is not a description. It's a stereotype. You used it to justify assaulting my son. He addressed the room. This incident is under federal investigation. Officer Holt, you're suspended. Badge and weapon. Now. Holt looked at Pike. Pike looked at the floor. Now. Marcus repeated. Holt's hands shook. He removed his badge, set it on the desk, then his weapon. Magazine out, chamber cleared, on the desk. The sound echoed. Marcus turned to Jalen, expression softening. The father returned. Let's get you out of here. Jalen nodded, unable to speak. They walked to the exit. Marcus's hand rested on Jalen's shoulder, protective. At the door, Marcus paused and looked back. This doesn't end here. There will be accountability. Real accountability. Not just for Holt, but for every system that allowed this. Count on it. He and Jalen walked out. The doors closed. Inside, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Holt stared at his badge on the desk, his career ending before his eyes. Outside the station, Jalen stood next to his father's car, shaking. Marcus kept his hand on Jalen's shoulder. You're safe now. We're going to handle this. Dad, I didn't. I know you did nothing wrong. Jalen felt tears coming. He couldn't hold them back. Marcus pulled him into a hug. Let it out. Jalen cried into his father's shoulder. All the fear, the humiliation, the anger poured out. After a moment, Marcus pulled back. Here's what happens next. We make sure this means something. Not just for you, but for every kid who doesn't have an FBI director for a father. What do you mean? You'll see. Come on. They walked back toward the station. Jalen hesitated. I don't want to go back. You don't have to go in, but watch. Inside, FBI agents were everywhere, taking statements, reviewing footage, documenting everything. Marcus spoke to Grant. Status. All evidence secured. Body cameras, dispatch recordings, witness statements. Good. Bring them in. 5 minutes later, the doors opened. Lila Bennett walked in, eyes red. Mrs. Evelyn Brooks followed, head high. Behind them, security guard Ronald Mercer looked terrified. Marcus addressed the room. Thank you for coming. What happened today was wrong. What happens next is up to all of us. He gestured to the TV. Watch this. The screen showed the complete sequence, but this time it started earlier. The actual theft at Tech Mart. A white male in his 20s, red hoodie, shoving electronics into a bag, face clear on camera. Then Mercer on his radio, eyes scanning, passing over white teenagers, Asian teenagers, Hispanic teenagers, landing on Jalen, the only black teenager visible. The video continued, multiple angles from above, from the side, from witnesses' phones, devastating. When it ended, Marcus turned to Mercer. Mr. Mercer, you're not a police officer, so I can't suspend you, but I can do something else. He pulled out his phone and made a call on speaker. Mr. Delgado, Director Marcus Hale, FBI. I'm calling about your security contract at Riverside Mall. Director Hale, I saw the news. I'm so sorry. Mr. Mercer is here. The guard who identified my son, based solely on skin color. He told police he had no formal training, just instinct. Silence. I need mandatory training for every guard you employ. Implicit bias. Constitutional rights. De-escalation. Quarterly, not one time. The FBI will help set it up. Yes, sir, absolutely. And Mr. Mercer, he's your first trainee. He completes a restorative justice program. Then he can teach other guards what not to do. Marcus looked at Mercer. Sound fair? Mercer nodded frantically. Yes, sir. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to my son. Mercer turned to Jalen, tears streaming. I'm sorry, I didn't think, I just assumed. You assumed I was a criminal? Jalen said quietly. Because of my skin. Yes, and I was wrong. Do you understand what your assumption caused? Mercer nodded. I do now. Then do better. Learn better. Be better. Marcus turned to Lila. Miss Bennett, you tried to help. You had evidence. They dismissed you. Would you speak at a community meeting next week? Tell your story? Lila straightened. Yes, absolutely. Marcus turned to Mrs. Brooks. You spoke up. You told the truth. Mrs. Brooks' voice was strong. I've lived here 40 years. I've seen this happen over and over. I'm tired of staying quiet. Then don't. Your voices matter. He turned to the officers. Holt stood looking at the floor. Corbin nearby, uncomfortable. Sergeant Pike, here's what happens. The FBI launches a full investigation. Non-negotiable. But things can also happen now, today. Pike nodded. What do you need? First, Holt is suspended pending investigation. Done. Second, mandatory training for every officer, implicit bias, constitutional rights, de-escalation. We can do that. Third, a community oversight board. Real oversight, real disciplinary power. And I want Officer Corbin on it. Corbin looked up, shocked. Me? You knew something was wrong today. I saw it on your face. But you didn't stop it. Now's your chance to do better. Corbin swallowed. Yes, sir. I want that. Fourth, body cameras for every officer. Footage automatically uploaded, publicly accessible. We can do that. And fifth, Marcus looked at Holt. You complete a restorative justice program. If you do the work, you get a chance to make something good from this. Work with youth programs. Teach officers what not to do. Holt looked up, eyes red. Why would you give me that chance? Because my son deserves a world where police do better. That starts with you choosing to be better. Holt's voice cracked. I'm sorry. Marcus's voice was cold. Don't tell me. Tell him. Holt turned to Jalen. I was wrong. I let my assumptions control me. I saw your skin instead of seeing you. I'm sorry. Jalen didn't respond immediately. He looked at his father, then back at Holt. I'm 16 years old, Jalen said. Honor student going to MIT. I volunteer at a food bank. I coach Little League. Never been in trouble. Never had detention. His voice grew stronger. But none of that mattered to you. You saw black, and you saw criminal. That's it. That's all I was. Holt's face crumpled. So yeah, Jalen continued, you should be sorry. You should do the program. You should learn because what you did to me, you've probably done to others. And they didn't have an FBI director for a father. Silence. Jalen looked at all the officers. My dad can make changes here, but you all have to choose to be different. Every day, every stop, every interaction, or nothing changes. Marcus squeezed Jalen's shoulder, pride in his eyes. My son is right. This ends today. The excuses end. The assumptions end. The violations end. Because if they don't, I'll be back. And next time, it won't be a conversation. He looked at Grant. File the formal complaint, full investigation, weekly updates. Yes, sir. Marcus turned to Jalen. Ready to go home? Jalen nodded. As they walked out, Marcus called back. Officer Holt, you've got a choice. Let this destroy you, or let it rebuild you. Choose wisely. They left. In the station, silence hung heavy. Then Corbin spoke. I'll do it. The oversight board, the training, all of it. I want to help fix this. Pike nodded slowly. Then let's start. Holt stood alone, staring at his badge on the desk. For the first time in his career, he understood what he'd really done, what he'd taken from that teenager, and what it was going to cost him. The community gathered at the Riverside Community Center. Over 160 people filled every seat. More stood along the walls. Local news cameras lined the back. On stage sat director Marcus Hale, Sergeant Leonard Pike, Mayor Patricia Lang, and Jalen. Jalen's shoulder had healed. The scrape on his face had faded, but the memory hadn't. Mayor Lang stepped to the podium. Something happened that we can't ignore. We have to face it. We have to fix it. She gestured to Marcus. Director Hale has been working with us on real change, not just words. Action. Marcus stood. My son was racially profiled, assaulted, and illegally detained. If I hadn't been who I am, this story would have ended very differently. He paused. Justice shouldn't depend on who your father is. It should be a right for everyone. Applause filled the room. Here's what we're doing, Marcus continued. Mandatory implicit bias training for all police and security. Quarterly, not one time. The FBI is providing the curriculum. Community Oversight Board with real disciplinary power. Officer Miles Corbin will chair it. Corbin stood from the audience. People clapped, some looked skeptical. Body cameras for every officer. Footage uploaded automatically. Accessible by public request within 72 hours. The applause grew louder. Partnership between Riverside PD and the FBI to create a model de-escalation program. Marcus looked out at the crowd. These aren't suggestions, they're requirements. They start now. He sat. Pike stood and approached the podium. On behalf of Riverside Police, I apologize to Jalen Hale and this community. We failed. We're supposed to protect everyone equally. We didn't. His voice was heavy. Officer Holt has resigned. He's enrolled in a restorative justice program. If he completes it, he'll work with youth programs, but that's not enough. The system failed. We're fixing it. Pike sat. Mayor Lang returned. Jalen, would you like to say anything? Jalen stood. His legs felt weak. He approached the microphone. The room went silent. He didn't have notes, didn't need them. I was just shopping, Jalen began, voice quiet but steady. But they saw a threat. He looked around the room. Don't let that be your kid's story. Speak up, like Miss Bennett did. That was it. 6 seconds, 21 words, but the room exploded into a standing ovation. The simplicity hit harder than any long speech could. Lila Bennett, in the third row, wiped her eyes. Mrs. Brooks stood, fist raised. Mayor Lang returned to the mic. There's something else you should know. Jalen's story has gone viral. Hashtag Justice for Jalen is now a TikTok trend. Over 2 million videos of parents having the talk with their kids. Black parents teaching their children how to survive police encounters. White parents finally understanding why that talk is necessary. The room buzzed. People pulled out their phones, searching the hashtag. This conversation is happening in living rooms across America, Lang continued. Because of what happened here. Because Jalen spoke up. Because Miss Bennett spoke up. Because all of you are speaking up. After the meeting, people lined up to thank Jalen, to share their stories. Then, Officer Corbin approached. Jalen, Corbin said quietly, I want to apologize personally. I should have done more that day. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't stop it. Jalen looked at him. You were uncomfortable. I could see it, but uncomfortable isn't the same as doing something. Corbin nodded. I know. That's why I'm on the oversight board. I want to make sure this never happens again. He extended his hand. Jalen looked at it, looked at his father. Marcus gave a small nod. Jalen shook Corbin's hand. Then let's work together, Jalen said. Corbin's eyes were wet. Thank you. I won't let you down. As Corbin walked away, Marcus put his arm around Jalen. I'm proud of you. For what? For shaking his hand. That took courage. Jalen watched Corbin talking to community members. He seemed like he meant it. Maybe he did. Maybe he wouldn't follow through, but Jalen had given him the chance. That's what mattered. Across the room, a teenage girl approached, filming on her phone. Jalen, I'm doing the TikTok challenge. Can I ask, what would you tell other kids who look like you? Jalen thought for a moment, then looked directly at her camera. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't belong, you do. And when they try to make you small, stand tall anyway. The girl smiled, tears in her eyes. Thank you. She walked away, already posting the video. Marcus squeezed Jalen's shoulder. That's gonna get 1 million views. Good, Jalen said. Maybe it'll help someone. This is what transformation looks like. Not perfection, progress. Not revenge, restoration. One choice at a time. One person at a time. One viral video at a time. Eventually, Jalen stood in his MIT dorm room unpacking boxes. He pulled out the navy hoodie, the same one from that day. He'd washed it, kept it. His roommate walked in. "Nice hoodie, where'd you get it?" Jalen smiled. "Long story. Remind me to tell you about the day I learned the difference between power and justice." Officer Holt completed his restorative justice program. Now he speaks at police academies about implicit bias. His own story, his own shame, his own growth. Officer Corbin chairs Riverside's oversight board. Real change is happening, slowly, but happening. The mall's new security protocol has been adopted by 19 shopping centers nationwide. One moment of injustice became a catalyst for systemic change. So here's the question. Have you ever witnessed power crumble in the face of truth? Justice shouldn't depend on who your father is. It should be a right for everyone. If this story moved you, hit subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment. What's one action you'll take to stand up against injustice? Because change doesn't start with luck. It starts with us.